morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks, you guys, for joining us this morning. Coach Aaron is here. Could you send me a request to join? I can't invite you for some reason. Can you hear me? I hope my audio is good. Hey, Miss Nife. Coach Aaron is in, but I can't invite him. Coach, could you send me a request to join? So I just add you. How we get that? How we try to get that figured out? Glad to have you guys join. Oh, okay, you can hear me. You can hear me loud and clear. Dodo Nine. Thanks for joining. So basically, this is the second episode of Baller Sessions we're having. The first one was with Coach Daniel Ono, Director of Ono Football Academy in Lagos, Nigeria here. And today we have Coach Aaron Scully from Right to Dream Academy. I don't know what's going on. You know what? I might have to end this and resume this. Coach, could you send me a request? The option to invite you is grayed out. Let me see. I can invite any other person apart from Coach Aaron. You know, how do you say, is it Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's one of those things when you're doing anything live, you have to be prepared for any eventuality. And this is one of those situations. Okay, perfect. I can invite. Now, let me just send that. Boom. Sent you the request. And about to go live with Coach. Hey, Coach.
Hi,
good morning.
How are you doing? Are you good?
Fun. Yeah, you?
Good, thank you. Very good. Very good.
Fantastic. First question, is it Aaron or Aaron? Let's get that clear.
It's Aaron. Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I've got a real Scottish accent, so yeah, it's Aaron.
Music to my ears. I'm loving it. I'm glad to have you. Really excited, really honored. The live chat is buzzing. People are excited to be here this morning. And I think you have a lot of nuggets to share, and they're excited and very interested to know what you have to say. Thank you for joining us once more.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
The black dot says Scottish boy with a heart emoji. Okay, Coach. So I think we could just dive right into it. You know, could you just give us a little bit of your background? Tell us about what you want us to know about yourself.
Yeah, no problem. So my background obviously is in Scotland. That's where I was born and raised. I started my footballing career, if you like, a little bit later than most. I started out about the age of 12 and played local football for some teams in my hometown in Aberdeen in Scotland, which is sort of like the northeast of the country. I then went on to play semi-professional football for a couple of teams in and around the city. But I think I realised early on that a career in playing probably wasn't going to be what was for me, just due to a number of different factors. So I moved into coaching quite quickly. I almost moved into coaching a little bit accidentally because I really wanted to be a teacher in school, and I didn't quite get the grades to get into the university to allow me to go to do teaching. So I ended up doing coaching as sort of like a side course to hopefully go into teaching. and it never transpired because the coaching worked out quite well, and I ended up getting some jobs in coaching. So I kind of just stuck with the coaching route. I was kind of coaching recreationally for a number of teams in and around Aberdeen. So I worked with the community trust at Aberdeen Football Club in a part-time, but it then moved into a full-time position as well at the community trust. So I was taking on a number of different roles within that, sort of football development roles, and working and coaching as well at the same time. I was also a coach at Aberdeen Youth Academy for 6 years. So while I was doing all the full-time work with the community trust, I was also a coach with the Youth Academy at Aberdeen for about 6 years. So
Aberdeen is where Sir Alex Ferguson managed, right?
Yes, it was. Yes, so that's where he was right before he went to Manchester United. So we actually just not long ago unveiled a statue for him just outside our stadium, because he's probably one of our best manager in our history by quite a distance. So that's where he was before. But yeah, I was there for about 6 years, and I then decided to take on a new challenge and moved to Right to Dream in January. So that was just January, just this year. So that was an opportunity that came up, and one that I really wanted to go for. So I started that just in January there, as like head coach of the under-14 side and the head of Lower Academy as well. So that's a little taste of my background from the past.
That sounds like it's been an interesting journey, you've had so far. And it stands out, some things stand out to me. You said you started late, which is 8-12.
Yeah.
So how early should any aspiring professional or anybody who hopes their child plays professionally, how early should they get started? How early should they be in an academy?
It will be different, around the world, because at Right to Dream, for example, we take them in at 10 years old. And that's the youngest that we take them in. So that would kind of actually in Europe be still considered quite old. In Europe, they start taking them in. In England, they take them in at like 6-7 years old. They're not signed for the club at that point, but they take them in and do some training with them to try and train them up within their coaching curriculums, so that by the time they get to about 10-11 years old, they would then be officially signed for the youth academy at that point. So that's called like the pre-academy program in England, and in Scotland as well. It's the same thing, and mostly around Europe. But as I said, at Right to Dream, we don't take players until about 10 years old, which, again, as I said, in relation to Europe, is quite late in that respect. But it differs between, and to be honest, it's not about when you start, it's about what you do after you start. It's about how hard you work. It's about how much hours you put into your practice. Somebody that starts at 6 or 7, or somebody that starts at 12, if the person that starts at 12 puts in more hours than the person that started at 6 and 7, then that person that's 12 has given himself a better chance.
Develop faster.
To develop faster, yeah. It's all about how much work you put into it. So for me, it doesn't really matter where you start. It's about what you do after you start.
Okay, well noted. But I've stayed in Ghana. I lived in Ghana for a year. But I can't imagine could you tell us how much of a cultural shock it was, or if it wasn't any at all, moving from Scotland to Ghana? How's that been?
There definitely was a culture shock. I think number one, and it's nothing to do with the culture, but just being so far away from family and friends back home. It's one of those things. No matter where you go in the world, you're always going to be only a day away from somebody. You're only going to jump on a couple of flights and I'm back home. But it's having that accessibility to family and to friends, that you didn't really have or I didn't have when I'm over in Ghana, as easy as it is over here in Scotland. I'm currently in Scotland just now, that's why I say here. But just being away and trying to pick up the new job while being in the culture of Africa and in Ghana, it was very interesting. It was I wouldn't say it was difficult, because the staff and the people around the academy made me so welcome, made me feel so welcome, and welcomed me in with open arms, and couldn't have been nicer to me. So I wouldn't have said that it was difficult to adapt to the different culture in Ghana and in Africa, because the staff and the players as well, they all made it so easy for me. I think the players is probably what I spend most time with, during the day and in the evenings at training and things. So that's who I spend most of my time with, and it's definitely one that it made it easy for me to adjust to the different culture, and the heat as well. The heat is on a different level than anything I've ever experienced. Normally when I'm coaching, I'm wrapped up, gloves, hat, scarves. But this was shorts and t-shirt, and I'm going from about maybe 5-6 degrees in Scotland to 37 degrees. It's a big a big change.
Tell me about it. Yeah. So obviously you're going to leave your jacket and your gloves and your hat, everything back in Scotland.
They stayed in Scotland.
Of course. Yeah, I imagine that it's a rewarding experience, working with these guys, and I think we'll talk about more of that further down the line. But can you just tell us more about Right to Dream? Personally, okay, for people who don't really know what we do at Baller Showcase. So Baller Showcase basically is a platform that, through many means, we're just giving a spotlight to aspiring footballers, footballers in the developmental stages, people in the academies. We're giving them access to resources. Through our web series, we also give them a platform to showcase their talent, the best talents in academies across Africa. We put them on the web series and hope that gives them access to opportunities. So that's what we do at Baller Showcase, right? And starting out with Baller Showcase, one of the things we did was understand the developmental landscape for emerging players on the continent.
Yeah.
And one of the things that stuck out to us very early was the work that Right to Dream has done, right? Right to Dream is an immense institution. I'm a huge fan, huge supporter of what Right to Dream has done and is doing. But I'll leave you, as someone who is at Right to Dream, to tell us more about the work Right to Dream is doing, what Right to Dream has done, and what Right to Dream hopes to do.
Yeah, no, Right to Dream, for those that don't know, was started in 1999 by Tom Vernon, and he was the head African scout for Manchester United at the time, and he moved over to Ghana and realised the scope of talent that's in Ghana and in Africa itself, all over Africa. So he started Right to Dream, and since he started, it's really grown to really high and really good levels. It's now a fully residential school and academy, football and academy. So the kids that come in, as I said, they come in about 10 years old, and they get schooled at the facility. They also then play football at the facility as well. So they get both pathways. Right to Dream, it's not just about the footballer. It's not just about creating the best footballers. There's a real vision and drive and from all the staff to create better human beings as well. Good citizens for the world. That's really, really important for Right to Dream. And it's one that links in with my coaching and links in with my personality really well. When I try and coach, for me, it's all about the person around the player. For me, coaching is actually about 70% off the pitch. Only 30% of it's done on the pitch. For me personally, because it's about building that relationship with your players, building that relationship with your the staff around you, just building a relationship with the people. And once you have that relationship, that's when you can then start to get your messages across. And at Right to Dream, because the kids are there all the time, it's very easy to build that relationship very quickly. So, there's a few things that I've written down here as well, just so I've got a little bit of a notes to give you. And I thought I'd mention, that's a little bit about what Right to Dream is and what we do. But there's 8 sort of sayings that get drummed into us all the time as staff and as people within the academy. And I'm just going to go through them, and it kind of gives you a flavour about what Right to Dream is all about. Number one is that excellence can be found anywhere. You know, you're not born excellent. You're not all of a sudden excellent as soon as you're born. You know, it doesn't work like that. You've got to put in a lot of hard work to get to excellence and to get to the stage of success. And it's because of that excellence can be done by anybody. Anybody can be excellent. It's really about the amount of work you put in. It's, you know, it's your disciplined effort. It's your lifelong learning, all your character building and things. So everyone can be excellent if they put their mind to it. And that's one thing that we're really all about at Right to Dream. The second thing is looking beyond the obvious, recognizing the richness and creativity of people, and you know, it's not just about the person that's in front of you and looking. The old saying is don't judge a book by its cover. You know, you get to know the person, you get to see what they're all about, and that's when you really get to know what they're capable of. And that's what we really need to push and do. Look beyond the obvious. Look beyond what the capabilities of somebody is, because their capabilities might be even more than what they can show as well. The other thing we say is working with purpose. You know, when we do things at Right to Dream, we want to make sure that we're doing things for a reason. We want to make sure that we're doing things for a purpose, and that's one of the main things that we try and do is work with that purpose and create a positive legacy for all our players. And it's not again that kind of saying of do your talking but also do your walking. You know, if you're going to talk and you're going to say all these things that you're going to do, then walk the walk as well. You know, follow up on what you say. And that creates that purpose as well within our roles and within our jobs. The other thing is rocking the boat, creating a new normal. Something that I don't think a lot of people are always willing to do is rock the boat and push social norms and challenge those norms, burst those bubbles. It's something that has to be done. Yeah, you know, if you never change what you're doing, then you're never going to change as a human being. You're never going to get any further on. You've got to change something, or you'll always be where you've always been. That's a saying that's in the academy. It's up on the wall. You know, if you never change what you've done, you'll always be where you've always been. And it's something that stuck with me in my head. You know, moving from Scotland to Ghana was a huge change. It was something that rocked the boat for me. You know, because I felt like I had to do it to burst that bubble, to get out of that comfort zone, and to really go and try and push myself even further.
Increasing your capacity in the process.
Exactly. And that's kind of links into the next one of expanding the dream. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we're not just about the football side of things at Right to Dream. We're also about the education side and the creating better human beings and better citizens for the world to have. And it's expanding that dream. It's making them understand that there's more to the world than just football. You know, there's more to the world than what you might just see with your two eyes. You know, there's a big world out there. And, you know, can we expand that dream for our young people that come into the academy and really challenge them? For us, we are just as happy. And again, I know I'm a football coach and I want to see my players play at a really good level. That's definitely what I want. But also for me, I am just as proud as the player that gets their entry into university or goes to do that next college degree from school as I am with the player that goes to get a contract with FC Nordsjælland, our first team in Denmark. I'm just as proud of both. So that's really important for me and really important for all the staff at Right to Dream. It's also, the next thing we say is football is a story of humanity. It helps people see, you know, football is such a powerful and good tool to show the goodness of people and show the capabilities of human beings. It's such a enriching sport and it's a story of humanity. Football is people, you know, people is football.
Very true.
And yeah.
I mean, sorry, let me just tackle on that, right? You know, football, someone like Cristiano Ronaldo is very divisive, right? Some people love him, some people hate him, some people hate to love him, you know. But something that stood out was, you know, the United game against Liverpool, their rivals, And that's, the reception, not even the reception, just the support that the Liverpool supporters gave to him, because of the personal tragedy he's going through. That was very moving. That was very, very significant. It's a people sport. Yeah, you're right, 1000%.
No, and I was watching
Sorry,
that
go
game
ahead.
as well live. So no, I was watching that, and it was a really touching moment within the game. And it's moments like that that make you realise it's more than just the 90 minutes on the pitch. So it was very touching. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Also, thriving in all areas. Something we try and say is that no system is truly thriving if it is unbalanced. Sometimes you hear that in football terms, our attack was really good. We scored 4 goals, but we conceded 5. So did you play well? As a team, as a unit, you didn't. It wasn't a strong team performance. And put it in basic terms, no system is truly thriving if it is unbalanced. So it's trying to be thriving in all areas. It's trying to be the best in all areas that we can possibly have. Not just coaching, not just teaching, but also everything else we do around the academy. So making our pitches the best that they possibly can be, making sure that we really have a really strong character programme. We've also got a purpose programme that we have at Right to Dream Academy, just trying, again, as I mentioned earlier, about working with purpose and trying to instill that into the children. So it's making sure that all these areas are doing the best that they possibly can. Then there's the recruitment side of things. Then there's the physiotherapy side of things, the medical side of things, the sports science side of things. We're all trying to do the same thing. And if one department or if one person is pulling away from everyone else, then we're not thriving. We're not a good, coherent, strong working unit. And that's what we need to be if we want to push these players to the next level. And the last thing that we sort of speak about at Right to Dream is respecting football's soul. And that touches back about the humanity side of things. Football's for everyone. Football has a soul. It creates opportunities for people that they wouldn't have had in another life. They wouldn't have had if they didn't have football. And it brings people together. Here's me speaking to you. Here's me moving to Africa. Met some amazing new people over in Africa that I now consider lifelong friends already, and I've only been there for 3 months. And football's done that. Football's brought us together. So, that needs to be respected. That needs to be cherished and nurtured. And then I'll touch on it. I'll say it again, as I said before. It's a game about people for the people. And that's football's soul, and that has to be respected, definitely. So that's kind of a few things about Right to Dream there that we kind of live by, and as staff we work to those sort of sayings all the time, and it's something that we try and push onto the young players as well, to try and understand and to try and live within their life as well. And definitely as staff, it's something that and I think there's a few things in there for academies in general to really think about. I think a lot of academies in the world, you'll hear them say that they try and better the person as well as bettering the player. But what are they actually doing? What's being done other than the time that they're in training? And
On the pitch, yeah.
Exactly. And it's that time off the pitch that creates the human being. The time on the pitch will yes, it will help the player become better, but it's everything that goes on around the pitch. When you hear of top managers, again, we'll go back to Sir Alex Ferguson back in the day. Everyone said about Sir Alex Ferguson he was the best man manager. Was he the best tactician in the world? Did he have pass here, pass there, we're going to play this way, we're going to play that way? No, he didn't. He had his teams fired up. He had all the players that went out onto the pitch wanting to win and wanting to fight for him because of that mentality that he instilled in them. And that comes from off the pitch. That comes from off the pitch and the relationships you build with people. It's impossible to do it. It's impossible to do it without that.
And for Sir Alex, right, the people wasn't just about the players, right? It was also the people he kept around him. Exactly. He always delegated. He gave people that the opportunity to contribute, recommend, and he always took that feedback on board. That's one thing he had going for him as well.
Definitely. And that's what I would say to people as well is, I know people want to get better at football and we all want to be the best football people we can. I want to increase my knowledge within the game as well and continue to increase my knowledge as a coach. but you cannot beat the human interaction within football. It's the most important thing. As we mentioned earlier, and I've repeated myself a couple of times already, but I won't apologise, is football is about people for people. It's all about the people. So yeah, that just gives you a flavour of Right to Dream there for you, of what we try and do.
Right to Dream. I mean, it's good to see those values consistent, and having you guys instill them in the players is also very important, right? So the thing is, sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a moment because I was just thinking so much about Right to Dream. So the thing is, you mentioned the relationship Right to Dream has with Nordsjælland FC. I think it's the parent club, right? That's the arrangement. So Nordsjælland is based in Denmark.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we've seen a number of Right to Dream players sign for Nordsjælland and from there move to other clubs across Europe. As a coach in the academy, what have you seen, or what is the thing that you would say is most important for players to? What are the core values that players have, the consistent values that you see that players have that are seeing them translate to these successful professional careers that you see right from when they're in the academy?
Yeah, I think there's two things that they all have for all these players. There's two main things, and I'll say this saying before I get into what they are, because I'm sure the saying will tell you what they are straight away. Is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and that's the old. It's an old saying, but that's the two things that we notice with all the players that have went on to make successful careers and again go further than Nordsjælland, go past Nordsjælland and go up a level from Nordsjælland as well. That's the two main things they have. They have talent. They've worked hard at their talent, and if you think about it, right, in England alone, there's 1.5 million children playing organised football, organised youth football. They're playing in teams. 1.5 million children. On average, there's only going to be about 180 of them will make it to the Premier League, the top level. Now that's 0.012% of players will make it to the Premier League.
Tight odds. Odds.
It is the most tiny fraction ever. So to be in that tiniest fraction, you have to be better than 1.4 million people. So you've got to have talent. Talent is a very important thing, and you've got to work hard at your talent. And that links to the next thing, we speak about is that hard work, that determined attitude. I like my sayings. I like giving you little sayings. It's things that I use all the time. But
I like that.
But another one I kind of say is, winners are made when nobody is looking. Champions are made when nobody is watching. It's easy.
1,000%.
It's easy to be motivated. I've said this to my players many of times when they're maybe not working as hard and they're annoying me. I've said to them many times, it's easy to be motivated by me standing here and give you a motivational speech. It's easy because extrinsic motivation, motivation from others is easier than the motivation within ourselves. It's easy.
Intrinsic.
I can watch a documentary and I'll watch it and I'll be really pumped into it and I'll be let's go, let's get it. And then, a couple of days later, you might forget all about the documentary, and your intrinsic motivation goes down. It's what you're doing when nobody is watching. It's easy to do it when the coach is watching you. It's easy to do it when the staff are trying to feel and trying to push you to go and do things. But can you go and do them without, without having to be pushed? Can you do them, without having somebody having to go to you, go and practice on your weaker foot? Remember we talked about your left foot passing needs to be a little bit better, go and try and work on it. Or is that person going out and working on that themselves? There's areas of coaching that I need to work on. There's areas of the game that I want to develop my knowledge in. And it's not about waiting for the opportunities where they present themselves or waiting for times that somebody will tell me to do it or somebody will push me in that direction. It's about doing it away from my job. It's about doing it away from what I'm doing to develop myself as a coach. And that's the same as players. It translates in players.
So that when that time comes, you're ready and well prepared to take that chance.
Exactly. It's all about that. It's all about that hard work, that determined attitude. And again, how somebody can handle things when the going gets tough. It's again very easy to do things if you're doing well. I'm playing well every game. I'm playing every minute of every game. But what about when the coach leaves you out the game? You know, what about when you make a few mistakes within the game? What about you know, when you've had a really hard challenge against you and you're feeling a little bit injured? Do you block it? Do you stop trying as hard, or do you continue to push those boundaries? And that's the difference. Excuse me. When players are being challenged and when people are being challenged, that's when you need to see the best in people. And most people actually hide away from it. Most people cower away from it. There's a small amount of people that will push through it and they'll say, no, I'm going for this. And that's, again, some of the transferable attitudes that I've seen in players that are playing at the top level, or players that have come through Right to Dream and are playing at a good level just now. That's the things I see from them. When the going got tough, again, another quote for you, when the going got tough, the tough get going. You know, yeah, that's the old saying. You've got to be tough. You've got to go and work through that. And everyone has it. Football, we call it, football's like a roller coaster. You know, roller coasters, they go up and down and they loop and they go this way, that way, forwards and backwards. You know, that's football. Football is full of ups and downs and twists and turns. Sometimes you'll be playing really well. You'll be the most important person in the world to your team. The next time you're dropped and you're in the bench, how do you react to that? You know, sometimes you'll be the best player. You'll be scoring all the goals, and then all of a sudden you can't score a goal again. How do you react to that? It's all about that hard work and that determination when things are going well, but also when they're not going as well for me as well. And that comes back to something that I've been pushing onto the players all the time, and something that some of the players in the academy need to work on is controlling emotions. And again, it's that period when, as I said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. The tough don't go and smash people. I've seen a few training sessions where the players are getting really angry, they get really frustrated, and they start just kicking things. And they're not focusing, they're not concentrating, and that's not controlling your emotions. There's some tackles I've seen in my training sessions that would be red cards, you know, and it's trying to make the players understand you can't do those things within the games. You can't do those things within those, because the referee is just going to send you off. Controlling your emotions, again, it's the same thing when you get frustrated, when you get angry. You need to be able to control your emotions and regulate your emotions. As soon as you get frustrated and angry, you become more tense, you know? You become tense. And when you become tense and you think about the game of football, it's the ball. So your first touch goes further away from you because you're tense, you know, you're angry. You can't dribble as well because you're tense and angry. You can't play your passes that you want to play because you're too focused on being angry and being frustrated. Control the emotions. Take the emotion out of it and play your game. It's all about up here. Another kind of thing I say, and I really want my players to do it, and again, I'm talking now the top players, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Neymar. One that really got to me and I really loved listening to was Steven Gerrard when he played. I watched the documentary about him, and he said he went into training, every single training session, obsessed by being the best. Obsessed by it. Now, you can kind of think about that word obsessed. It means it takes up every part of your head all the time. You're obsessed. He went into training sessions with Liverpool obsessed with being the best player on the day. Now, what does the best player look like? Sometimes, again, you have poor training sessions. But if you have a poor training session, if you're giving the ball away, can you continue to work hard? Can you continue to run about and put in tackles and do your job?
Not hide.
Yeah, exactly. Not hide from just because you're having a poor time. Just kind of what I was relating to earlier on about when the going gets tough, the tough get going. when they're not playing as well, they continue to work hard. They continue to go and do their job within the team and within their role. Being obsessed with being the best. Go to every training session obsessed by being the best. And that was something that he said he just did all the time, and he doesn't see enough young players, or he said when he started coaching, he didn't see enough young players obsessed by being the best. Some players, when they get a little bit older, we have this thing called ego, and as we get older, this ego grows within us.
Gets bigger.
And we don't want to look like a fool in front of our friends. We don't want to look like a fool in front of people. So we stop doing things. And, you know, when you were a baby, we couldn't walk straight away. We didn't have any ego though. But we couldn't walk when we were a baby. So we were crawling. And we got up. What happened when you were a baby? You weren't able to just walk straight away. You fell over. Now, if an adult falls over nowadays, you probably laugh at them and, you know, and joke with them. When a baby falls over, they're learning, they're progressing. But because when we were babies, we didn't have any ego. So when we don't have any ego, we continue to learn. There was at no point in my life when I was a baby that I thought, when I fell over the 500th time when I was trying to walk, that I thought, okay, I'm just going to crawl for the rest of my life. It doesn't work like that. You know, you don't do that. You're a baby. You don't have an ego. You just continue to get up and learn and go. And that stops a lot of people from progressing in life, and progressing, especially in football, is their ego. They don't want to look like a fool in front of their friends when they go out to the local park. Their left foot maybe isn't as good as what their right foot is. So guess what? They want to look like the top dog in their training sessions. They want to look like the top dog within their friends, so they always use their right foot. They never challenge themselves to use their left foot. If they use their left foot, what's going to happen to the ball? The ball's going to go out of play. It's going to trundle around the floor. It's not going to look as good. And that means that their friends maybe will laugh at them. Just as what happens when you fall over, just as what happens when you were a baby. You're on, again, learning to ride a bike. You didn't just learn to ride a bike straight away. You had to fall off the bike about 5, 10, 15, 20 times, but you got back on the bike every time and you learned to ride the bike.
And you got better.
It's the same as playing football. If I wanted to improve my left foot shooting, I need to do some more left foot shooting. If I hit the corner flag from my left foot shot, it's not about saying, oh, well, I'm terrible with my left foot, I'm not going to do it anymore. It's about, okay, well, maybe in the next 10 shots I take, it might not go to the corner flag, it might go to the 6-yard box, and then it might start hitting the post, and then I might maybe start to get a few on target, and then I might start to be able to hit the corners, and then your left foot just progresses and it becomes better. But it's about not falling off the bike when you've fallen off the bike 10 million times. Get back on the bike, start to learn again, take the stabilizers off and continue to go. And a couple other things I want to mention. Doing the basics world class basics is something that I'm trying to push on to the staff, trying to push on to the young players as well. Do the basics well. Do the basics better than anyone else. What's the basics? Turn up on time. Turn up on time. The training session starts at 4 o'clock. Make sure you're there at 3:45. Turn up on time. Again, Roy Keane.
If you're 5 minutes early, you're late.
Yes, it's a saying that Roy Keane used to say. If you're not there 15 minutes early, you're late. And it's a great saying. It's something that I've always had in the back of my mind for training sessions, for meetings, you know, making sure that you're prepared for things. Right before I came on this chat with you, I was sitting on my laptop making sure that everything was kind of ready, that when 10 o'clock came, I was there. Yes, we had our little technical issues at the start, didn't we? But we got over there.
Yeah.
If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. That's a basic thing to do. Be coachable. Be teachable. Turn up and be ready to learn. That's a basic thing that you can control. Control the controllables. You can't control what the weather's going to be like that day. Can't control it. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain. If it's going to be 37 degrees heat, it's going to be 37 degrees heat. You know, control what you can control. You can't control that. You can't control when somebody's going to come and make a really bad challenge on you. You can't control injuries all the time. They happen. Control what you can control. You can control your mind. You can control your body. You can control your attitude to training. And that's a really important thing. And the next thing, and something I'm trying to, again, push on to the players, another little saying I have is be a good winner, but be a great loser. And what I mean by that is when we win, it's easy. When we win, we think we've conquered the world at that point. You think you've done everything right. And you then start to drop the ball maybe sometimes when you win, because you get this ego. You get this sense of importance because you've just won. Now, what's winning? Define winning. That doesn't always mean winning a game. That sometimes means, when I was talking about that left foot shot, we're working on our left foot shooting, and you've managed to hit one in the top corner, and all of a sudden you think, okay, well, that's my left foot shooting done. I'm now the best at it. You've won. You've hit the corner. That was the whole point of doing this practice, is to make sure you can try and hit the corner of the goal with my left foot. Now you've done it. So now you've won. So now you think, okay, that's me. I'm left foot. I've done it. No, you've got to continue going. And that's what I mean by being a great loser. Be a great loser. If you lose, it's about reflecting on your own performance when you lose. Reflect on your own performance. If my team lose at the weekend, if I'm coaching a team and they lose, the first thing I look at is not the players. It's not the players. The first thing I look at is myself. How did I prepare the team? How did I coach within the team? How did I coach on the match day to help the players? Was it good enough? And most of the time, to be honest, the answer is no. I always look internally first. It's the first thing I do. If I do something wrong, if I lose, it's not about, again, that left foot shot. I'm just going to keep coming back to that because it's the one I'm using. If I hit the shot and it hits the corner flag, it's not blaming the wind. Oh, the wind. The wind. Did you see the wind there? It took it all the way over to the corner flag. No, it was my shot. Look at yourself first. Be a great loser. It's not about blaming other people and pointing the fingers at other people. It's about looking internally first and taking responsibility and ownership of your own learning. And that, for me, is a key thing for people, I think, to learn, is take responsibility, take accountability. If you do something wrong, put your hands up, admit, I've done something wrong. If you don't understand something, put your hand up, ask the question. Again, there's another saying in The Right to Dream on the walls. He who asks is a fool for 5 minutes. He who doesn't ask is a fool for life. You ask a question, you might look like a fool for 5 minutes. You might look like the one.
But now you know.
But now you know. The person that's in the corner that didn't ask the question, or had something in their head and they didn't ask the question, they're now not going to have the knowledge. So they're never going to have the knowledge in their life. Ask the question. And take a responsibility and accountability for your own learning. Your journey in life, where you want to go in life, isn't dictated by other people. It's dictated by yourself. And that's the most important thing for me, is taking responsibility for your own learning. So there was quite a lot in there. There are a few of the things that I go on, but that's what I kind of try and live by and push on to the players.
A lot, very important, very important. And something that stuck out to me was, when you talk about the roller coaster. I mean, it's easy when everything is going fine, but when things aren't, it's how you find that tenacity, right? And as Wenger described tenacity as consistency in your motivation, right? Yeah. So whether things are good, whether things are bad, how do you consistently stay motivated? How do you find a way to motivate yourself? Very, very important. So we've seen how what Right to Dream is doing for personal development, as well as football development, and I'm sure that people listening are excited, interested, but we have a lot of followers from across the continent, not just Nigeria, not just Ghana. So now we're looking about players who are in, for example, in an academy in Nigeria or Ivory Coast or Kenya. And they're thinking, oh, Right to Dream. I'd like to even, see if I can match up, if I can get into the Right to Dream system. How is that a possibility? I know you mentioned recruitment being one of the arms at Right to Dream. So how does that work? How does a player that's interested in Right to Dream? Because Right to Dream has a very clear path to get into Europe, right, through Nigeria. So how does a player that's outside of Ghana, for example, get access to that opportunity? So
initially, Right to Dream, we have a team of scouts So they're our recruitment team, and they will go around Ghana. Now, our area that we recruit from is Ghana and Ivory Coast. So we have a lot of players from Ivory Coast within Right to Dream. And our scouts go regularly to Ivory Coast to watch games, to watch players, and they host open trials. It would be difficult for somebody out with those two countries, simply because we don't recruit from those areas. We don't have an academy in those areas. But if there was ever a time where they were looking to move to Ghana, or if we also host open trials, and I think information for these gets put on our Facebook pages and our social media accounts. We host open trials, and players are more than welcome from any other country that can get to these open trials to go there. And look, I know Right to Dream want to grow as an organisation and as a business. We've just recently opened an academy in Egypt as well. So we have the academy in Denmark, we have the academy in Ghana, and we have the academy in Egypt. You know, maybe in the future there might be more Right to Dreams across Africa. I've got no idea on that. You know, I'm just the head of Loan Academy. I'm just the coach. But there might be more Right to Dreams across Africa at some point. You know, these things sort of take time to build, as you can imagine. Building a whole academy, you know, it's a bit crazy. It costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. But there might be Right to Dreams in the future in these areas. But at the moment, the focus is on Ghana and Ivory Coast, and then obviously Egypt as well with the new academy. That's the focus. But the open trials, if people can get to those open trials, then they're absolutely more than welcome from anywhere.
Okay. All right. One of the questions we had was, you've already touched on that extensively, which was like, which one should a young player prioritize? If it's solo practice, you know, what they do on their own, or if it's more of the things they do on the pitch as a team. And I think you already talked more about how it's important, the work you do, when you particularly said winners are made when nobody's looking, right? So it's what you can do, training exercises that you can do on your own. I think that has a greater weight than what you do as a team.
Yeah, and I think it's having a self-awareness, right? So you need to have a self-awareness of what you need to work on, and working on your own is only for the benefit of working within the team. You know, it's an interesting thing to speak about in terms of technical ability and how we want to improve as players. If we, if we describe a good first touch, for example, if I wanted to improve my first touch, and we talk about it has to be on my own, I have to work on my first touch on my own. You know, I might go out with a ball, and I'm going to kick a ball against the wall, and then I'm going to try and take it down and work on my first touch. But a first touch in the game of football is about taking the ball away from pressure. So a first touch in football isn't just about the touch of the ball. It's about how you prepare for the ball coming. It's about being aware, scanning before you receive to see where people are coming from. And then taking your first touch in accordance to where the pressure is and what the situation is within the game. That's a good first touch. So it's very difficult. You know, you can work on the basic first touch and being comfortable with the ball, but a good first touch is in relation to the game. That's what a good first touch is. But everyone thinks that a first touch is just about the touch of the ball. It's more than that. You know, a good first touch is preparing, scanning, then taking your touch in accordance with where you want to play. For me, as a technical attribute, first touch is the most important, by the way. A first touch is the most important technical attribute for me personally in football. Football's all about opinions, by the way. People will have lots of opinions, so you know it's up to.
That's your opinion.
And that's my opinion. And the reason I say that is because the first touch is the first thing you do with the ball. So if you don't have a good first touch, you then can't play a pass, because if your first touch is too heavy, you're then chasing after the ball, and then the next thing you might be doing is making a tackle. Whereas if your first touch was good and it was out your feet, you can then play your pass. If your first touch is good, you can then dribble and take on players. If your first touch is good, you then able to get your shot away because it's away from pressure. It's out your feet. So that's why I say first touch is the most important thing for me. You know, it's the first thing you do with the ball, the very first thing you
Makes
do,
sense.
and it needs to be good. Otherwise, the other things that come around isn't going to follow.
Don't get a chance to do that.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
But sorry, relating back to your question. Again, being obsessed with being the best. Champions are made when no one is watching. Get out and practice. Absolutely, get out and practice your first touch. Get out and practice your passing ability. You know, go out and practice all these things by yourself, because you're right. Becoming a better individual will allow you to become a better team within the player. And if you become a better team within the player, a better player within the team, then you know, it allows you to it allows your team to flourish and become even better. So yeah, go and practice out on your own, definitely.
Okay. I mean, sorry. Another question we keep getting, we always get, is can I go pro without going through the academy system? We always get this question.
It's an interesting question. I would say you can. Because again, it comes down to that. You know, if you're a player that has the talent, has the work rate, has the ability, then I believe you're always going to get picked up at some point. Somebody's going to pick you up. We've got players in our academy that are very, very good. They're very, very good players. And I think if we didn't pick them up, I still think they'd make it as a professional footballer, because their attitude is just far above anyone else's. Their ability is far above anyone else's. And that stands out no matter if you're in an academy or if you're not in an academy. You know? Yes, being in an academy helps. It definitely helps, because you know, you're getting access to a lot more football training and organised football training. And you know, you're probably getting a better standard of those things as well. But it's not the be all and end all. You know, you don't need to be in an academy to make it as a professional. You can definitely make it without having been through one. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a sore throat today, so apologies. But but yeah, we've got situations in Scotland with players that haven't been through the academies in Scotland, but they still make it as a professional footballer, because again, just their attitude and their ability, their work rate, they're so determined to make it that they continue to work hard. Sometimes players in academies can take the foot off the gas, believe it or not, because again, they think they're in the academy and they've made it already. They've done most of the hard work now already. I'm in the academy, but so they kind of take their foot off the gas just a tiny little bit. And that person that's not in the academy knows they need to work 10 times harder. So, yeah, they keep going. They keep that attitude up. They don't never stop. And I think these players will always be found, no matter if they're in an academy or not.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. I think some of our listeners are going to be excited to hear that. But at the end of the day, hard work trumps all, right? Hard work always trumps all. So, one thing we do at Baller Showcase is we post opportunities, scouting opportunities, trials, you know, for these players to know what's going on wherever they are on the continent. And something they always want to know is, how can they stand out? Two questions. The first question is, how can they stand out? What are coaches, what are recruiters, what are scouts looking for? What are things they can do in those trial exercises? One. And the second thing is there a position that makes them more likely to be picked up? Like, are you better as a central midfielder? Are you better as a defensive midfielder? Or and also, does versatility help? So it's two questions, right? What can you do to stand out? And should you be versatile, or is there a position that you should that is more preferable that you play?
I think for me personally, when I'm watching players, the thing that stands out for me is a couple of things. One, their technical ability with the ball. technical ability with the ball. How can they handle the ball? How good are they? How's their awareness before they receive the ball? How good is their first touch? How good is their passing ability? Can they use both feet? Their technical ability, how do they use the ball? That's the one thing that I look for first. The second thing is I then look for how does that work within the team that they're playing, right? Because when you go to scout people, when you go to watch people, you're not going to pick them up. You're not going to pick them up by watching them kick a ball off a wall. That's not where you're going to pick up players. Anyone can look good kicking a ball against a wall. It's that in the team setting. So the second thing I look for is how does that technical ability, how does that player work and react within the team setting? Are they a player who isn't working hard off the ball? They're not making runs for people. They're not trying to help the team as best as they possibly can. They're just kind of doing the bare minimum. That's the two things I look for. Your technical ability with the ball and how does it work within the team setting. And, if I see somebody that is working hard, and it doesn't matter what position, it relates to your position question, by the way. It doesn't matter what position you play in for me, because football has 11 positions, right? And it's difficult for goalkeepers because there's only one position, right? There's only one goalkeeper position, so it's very difficult to be a goalkeeper. Very, very difficult. It's a tough job. If you're a fullback, if you're a right back or a left back, you can potentially maybe play right back or left back. If you're a centre back, there's 2 centre back positions. If you play a back 4, if you play a back 3, there's 3 centre back positions. So you can play in a number of different positions. If you're a central midfield player, there's 2 or 3 positions you can play in within central midfield. If you're a wide player, you can play off the left or you can play off the right. If you're a striker, they might play a front 2, so you've got 2 positions you can potentially play in. But for me, it does not matter where you play. It's all about that technical ability, because there's things that I look for within my left backs that I watch if I was looking to scout a left back that I wouldn't be looking for within my striker. Different things. 1v1 defensively, I would want my fullbacks to be really good in a 1v1 defensive situation. Can they watch the ball? They're up against a really fast, quick, tricky winger. Can they watch the ball? Can they make contact on the ball? Can they win the ball back? And can they play to their teammates? Yes, strikers need to be good 1v1 defending if they're going to press, but is that a priority for me when I'm watching a striker? No. But it's having that self-awareness of, one, what's my best position? And being honest with myself. If my best position is being a left back, then play as a left back. It's an interesting, when you're very, very young, try and play as much different positions as possible, right? Because if you're a left back, when you get older and you turn into being a left back, if you've played as a left winger, a left, out wide midfielder, you're then going to understand the movements that they're going to make because you've played in that position before. If you play as a central midfield player when you're younger and you end up being a left back, again the little movements and how tough it is to be a central midfield player and the passes you need to look out for when you play into midfield. So getting a variety of different positions is very good for young players. But as you start to become older, it's then important for me to be self-aware. Okay, what's my best position now? Am I better as a striker? Am I better as a centre-back? Am I better as a central midfield player? If you play as a central midfield player, there's a few different positions you can play in. Are you more like a Rodri at Man City? Sergi Busquets, sit in front of the back 4, break up play, start attacks, distribute the ball, simple, that sort of thing. Or you could be a number 8, we call it, box to box. You get up and you support attacks, you get back and you help your defenders. Or you could be a number 10, an attacking midfielder, where you are more trying to pick up pocket spaces in behind midfielders. You're trying to play offensive turns to play forward and link up with your attackers to try and play forward. You maybe don't go back as much, but you still will have to do some defensive work. So there's 3 different positions within midfield. What's your best one? Am I better at breaking up play, or am I better at getting on the ball further forward and starting attacks from my teammates? Which one am I better at? And having that self-awareness after having tried lots of these different positions and sticking to that position. It's an old Italian way of doing things. The Italians now, the Dutch used to do it where all the players up until about the age of 12, 13, 14 even played lots of different positions. The Italians have now changed it, and they are now saying that they stick to the positions that they're given at a young age so that they become masters in that position. For me, there's no right or wrong way. I like my players to go and try lots of different positions. But it's important that if you try all those different positions, that you have that awareness of where your best position is. Not just your favourite position. Lots of players, again,
don't play.
They want to play as a winger, you know. Everyone wants to be a striker. Everyone wants to score goals. Everyone wants to be a winger. Everyone wants to go and take on players and show their skills. Everyone wants to do it. But for me, everyone wants to be an attacking midfielder, a number 10, a Phil Foden, a David Silva, you know, those type of players, a Lionel Messi, a false nine, whatever. Everyone wants to be those players. But for me, the ones that are really mature understand when, okay, I'm a better centre-back than I am as a central midfield player. I'm going to go and be a centre-back, and I'm going to learn properly how to be a centre-back and really develop myself as a top centre-back and learn the things that I need to learn to be a top centre-back, because that's my best position. My favourite position is being a midfield player, but my best position is being a centre-back, and you need to have that self-awareness to say, yes, I still want to play in central midfield again, as we were talking about, you know, to pick up the positions and know the positions you want to be picking up. But I still want to develop myself as a centre-back because that is my best position. So,
and that focus is important because it helps with development trajectory.
Exactly, definitely.
Coach Aaron, it's been a very insightful session, but we've been going for over an hour now. So I'd like if you could leave us with 3 parting words, 3 important steps that every player should take today. You know, what are your 3 parting words? I mean, you've given us a number. I could pick 3 from what you said. But yeah. I would say the 3 most important things you want to leave us with today.
The 3 most important things I want to leave you with is work hard. Go and work hard. Be obsessed. So work hard, be obsessed, and do the basics better than anyone else. That's the 3 things I would say.
I love do the basics better than anyone else. I really love that because, like, when we're talking about tenacity and having ups and downs, during those periods, what helps you get out of that most of the time is going back to the basics, right?
Yes.
And if you're doing the basics well, I think you turn out fine.
Yeah.
It'll turn out well for you.
And that's it. The basics are tying your boots, making sure your boots are tied, making sure you've got the right equipment, making sure you're ready for the session.
You're on time.
Yeah, making sure you're on time, making sure you listen to your coach. They're basics. Basic things that you can control and everyone can do. So do the basics better than anyone. Turn up before anyone. Tie your boots before anyone. Make sure you listen harder than anyone. Make sure that's basic things, but everyone can do them, and everyone should do them.
Thank you, Coach. So we're shooting season 2 of the African Football Wonder Kids Challenge. Season 2 is most likely going to be in Nigeria, but we're looking to have a number of academies from outside of Lagos. First season was primarily Lagos Academy. So, but subsequent seasons, season 3, season 4, coming to Ghana very soon, and we're hoping to have players from the Right to Dream Academy feature in the challenge. So, looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely. Keep in touch, and we'll hopefully sort something out with that. That'll be good.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach, and thanks so much, listeners. It's been great having Coach give us a lot of his tidbits, and it's been an honor having you guys stick with us through this period. And yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Again, I'll just echo that and say thank you very much. If anyone, you know, obviously my Instagram is on here, so if anyone has any further questions, feel free to follow me and I'll and drop me a message if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them.
For sure, give Coach a follow, and give Right to Dream a follow as well.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekends. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.